Yes, sir.
It is fine to celebrate success, but it is more important to heed the lessons of failure. My dear students, I feel that it is aptly said because success guides us to gain more knowledge and confidence, but failures makes us more aware about our weaknesses and teaches us lesson to learn from our own mistakes. And with this, I welcome you all. A very good afternoon to everybody. I, Dr. Mitali Pathak, welcome you all to the webcast lecture on IPCC Paper 5 Advanced Accounting. CA Praveen Sharma is with us and will be discussing and sharing his views and experiences and giving valuable tips on how to qualify and excel in IPCC Paper 5 Advanced Accounting. CA Praveen Sharma is an eminent faculty having a rich and an extensive experience of more than 22 years in the field of accounting. He qualified Chartered Accountancy course in the year 96 and has been placed in the merit list and is a rank holder in the intermediate and finals both. He topped Delhi University by scoring 100% marks in accountancy and has also won gold medal in Accounts Olympiad in 1990. He possessed a vast teaching experience in the field of accountancy to teaching students of CA Final, IPCC and so on. He is currently teaching accountancy to various levels of the students and various other institutes. Students can take maximum benefit out of this lecture and they can ask their questions during the webcast telecast by clicking on the tab Ask a Question. So not taking much of your time, I request CA Praveen Sharma to please start with the lecture and enlighten our students. Sir, please.
Thank you, Dr. Pathak. Thank you, ICI Board of Studies, for giving me the opportunity to interact with my students for pursuing IPCC Group 2, and they are going to ask some questions also on advanced accountancy. I am here just to guide you about little things about how to prepare for the examination of advanced accountancy. It's very, very simple. It's very, very simple. Personally, I believe that in Group 2, where there are 3 papers, one is accountancy, another is auditing, and another is ITSM. Accounts is the most simplest one, and of course interesting also. We can definitely make one strategy for clearing the exams, for understanding better, for scoring very good marks through this paper. In Group 2 accountancy paper, I have already uploaded one PowerPoint presentation for you, which lets you know about what's the basic percentage of marks from each topic which is generally asked. It's the average marks for the past 10 years which are basically asked from the particular topics. So you can have just a look on those topics also. I'll be discussing about how to make a strategy for that. In accountancy, in Group 2, about 22% of the questions are from accounting standard. 22% makes a very big difference. We must understand 22% makes a lot of difference between a rank and a non-rank, between pass and fail. So first of all, we must concentrate on accounting standards. And in any situation, all accounting standards are quite simple also. Accounting standard 4, accounting standard 5, accounting standard 12, accounting standard 16, accounting standard 19, 20, 26, they're all interesting one. In case we start reading, we'll enjoy it. While studying accounting, I'll let you know later on how we should go for the accounting standards, but 22 marks are basically from accounting standards. In Group 2, there's nothing to be feared upon. Everything is quite simple. Apart from 22 marks, we get questions from banking, insurance, electricity companies. The basic in your CA institute is asking about the formats of these 3 topics. How to prepare the balance sheets and profit and loss for a banking company, for insurance company, even for electricity company. Though we all know that electricity company now is regulated through Electricity Act 2003. It's quite simple also. The things have changed. You must have got by today, your study materials have been revised. You are supposed to follow revised schedule 6 for electricity companies also. So about 23 marks, 23% marks, the institute is asking from these 3 topics. And they are all just simple formats. They are all formats. You have to just go through those formats, understand those formats, understand those adjustments. We can simply, by covering these 2 topics, accounting standard and formats based financial statements for banking, insurance and electricity company, 50% paper is over. 50% makes the difference. In case we keep on concentrating on other topics, rather we should first of all concentrate on these topics. They are most, I think, remarkable and important things for our preparation. It makes a proper strategy to work upon these topics first of all. Then we have some other topics also. Very, very simple and small topic is there. Employees stock option plans, buyback of shares, and we have underwriting of shares and debentures. Generally, students do not concentrate on these topics considering they are very small and what can be maximum asked from these topics, because you know, generally these topics demand only maybe maximum 10 hours of study. And student generally feels that yes, they can devote those 10 hours later on. And these topics are generally giving us about 12% of the paper every time. 12%. You can just devote 10 hours and on those 10 hours we can get 12 marks. Maybe let us say 1 hour and 1 mark. We can make a ratio for that. It's not important that we get 100 out of 100 every time. It's very, very, very important that we must understand that strategy is most crucial thing. And there are of course certain topics like branch, on an average 10 marks, departmental on an average 4 marks, amalgamation 16 marks. I always ask my students that you should first of all do amalgamation of companies. It's a very interesting topic. It's in group 1 also, it's in group 2 also, it's in final also. In all the 3 levels, the paper, the institute is asking amalgamation. Every time they are asking amalgamation. 16 marks question. It can be from internal reconstruction, it can be from amalgamation. So definitely we should make a strategy for this. That amalgamation, internal reconstruction, though they are in group 1, but we should prepare in a very, very proper manner, because they are going to come in group 2 also and again in CA final also. In case we count branch as well as amalgamation, it makes about 26% of our paper. 3/4 of the paper is just ready with these few topics only. With these few topics only. So we should make a proper strategy. And the strategy is already on your PPTs. You can just download, see the average marks percentage and prepare accordingly. I personally believe the paper is very, very simple. You may have got the results also. Few of may have got the results also this time from CPT, and you may be started pursuing this group 2 also along with. It's a very, very interesting paper. Now the question arises, we start our studies. Maybe your results are out in July only, July 2013. So should we wait first of all, let us say for August or September to start with the studies? Generally, this is not very good strategy. We should continue, we should start our preparation at the earliest. We should start as soon as our results are out for CPT. Don't wait for any particular day. Even some students feel like taking coaching somewhere, and the coaching is not starting in the month of, maybe they will starting in the month of August or maybe in the month of September. There is no logic in waiting for August or September. Take out the books, start preparation. That's the first lesson in strategy making. Why waste time in just discussing when will the classes start? continue with your own study, self-study. You may take coaching later on, there is no issue. But you should study it also. You should concentrate also on your own also. It's a very simple paper. You have already studied in group 1 or maybe studied in CPT also, because you know this is generally a very, very simple double entry based topics. So it does not require any particular professional teachers first of all just to understand the formats of a banking company. In India, we generally are dependent on somebody first of all. So somebody must guide us, then only we will start. But don't. First lesson is you start immediately. I was just giving one example. In banking companies, the formats have to be learnt. And nobody else is going to make you learn those formats. You have to learn on your own. The format of the balance sheet is very important. It starts with schedule number 1, capital. So just remember C over there. First schedule is capital. Second is reserves. The reserves means R is over there. Third one is deposits. Deposits is the third schedule in the format. The fourth one is borrowings. And the last one is other liabilities. You need to remember them. I always prefer visualization. You know, visualization is very important. What I ask my students is, I have made one phrase for that. Can Ramu Dhobi buy oranges? Where C, can means C. C stands for capital. Ramu means R and R means reserves. Dhobi means D and D means deposits. Buy means buy, B, B for borrowings, and oranges means O, O means other liabilities. Similarly, you can make one. In case you have already studied the banking company, you must have gone through the schedules of schedule number 6 to 11. CBI, a fraud organization. CBI, a fraud organization. What does it mean? C stands for cash. B stands for balance with other banks. I stands for investments. A stands for advances. F stands for fixed assets. And O stands for other assets. You know, all the 11 schedules, just by giving 2 small visualizations, you can very easily learn. Can Ramu Dhobi buy oranges? All the 5 schedules gone in your head. CBI, a fraud, we don't need anything. Everybody knows about it. CBI, a fraud organization. It's a so simple thing to learn. I'm not saying CBI, the CBI, which is the organization of Government of India. I'm just talking CBI means cash balance. CBI, a fraud organization, that's it. We can just make such kind of things and put the things in our head. They're very simple, very, very simple. The only thing is, we need to work on our own. Maybe when you are studying, you just keep the books in your front and just watching them and thinking, yeah, how to do it, how to go about it. It's very difficult. No, try to visualize them. Try to read them. Try to make them simple. It's very important that you do the work on your own. There is no need for any dependency on anybody. Format based topics are very easy to learn and we get generally 16 marks paper from it. The electricity company has gone certain changes. You may not be completely aware about it. The institute has not asked question for the last 2 or 3 times also, because the institute is giving time for students to make necessary amendments. Now electricity companies are governed by Electricity Supply Act 2003 and we need to learn those. There is no question in doing all the questions which were earlier asked in earlier exam. Now we need to do the revised formats. Now the important thing is calculation of tariff. How tariff is calculated for electricity company. There are certain guidelines for calculation of tariff. That guidelines came in 2007. We are supposed to go through those guidelines. There are few questions also in the study material which assist us in understanding the calculation of tariff. How electricity companies calculate tariff is very important. It's very simple also, very, very simple. I have taught to my students it's so simple topic. And then comes the importance of depreciation. How depreciation is charged for electricity company. The things have changed altogether. Depreciation method have already, because now what the Electricity Supply Act says, that payment of loan will be treated as depreciation. Payment of loan, mind my words. I am saying payment of loan will be treated as depreciation charge. And once the loan is over, then the actual depreciation will also be charged later on the remainder book value. These are few small things. We are going to get about 16 marks of paper out of it. It's very important for us. While discussing strategy, I always prefer discussing these things. Then arises some other few topics also. I was just discussing amalgamation also with you. Amalgamation is very, very interesting. You know, there are only 3 or 4 things to be kept in mind. One is how to calculate purchase consideration. Purchase consideration, we have 2 methods. One is net assets method and another is net payments method. The first and the foremost important topic is calculation of PC by net payments method. It's very simple also. We just count purchase consideration based on the payments made by the new company to the old company's shareholders, equity shareholders and preference shareholders. There are few things important in that calculation. That this is swap ratio is important. How to calculate swap ratio in case swap ratio is not given. How to work out the deemed swap ratio, etc., etc. So amalgamation can be definitely done by you. Another point which is very important is your branch account. You know, there are 3 topics which are related to financial accounts where we don't need any schedule 6 unless the question is of a company. Branch accounting, where I personally don't agree with the methods and the books. Every book starts with the first thing of dependent branches, then moving on to independent branches, and the last point is foreign branches. But you can't understand branch better in case you start from dependent branch. You should always start from independent branches. First of all, we must understand what is independent branch. I always start in my classes with independent branches. In independent branches, we let them know how things move, how accounting does take place in the books of head office, in the books of branch, how they are consolidated. When you understand the basic dynamics of independent branch, then you can understand in case branch is not having its own books of accounts, then how does accounting takes place. So dependent branches is, I always say, is dependent on independent. But every teacher, every person is always studying dependent branch first of all. And ultimately, losing interest in the topic, students don't learn it properly. They just leave it because they say it's very tough, because they don't understand what the thing is happening over there. So I'll strongly suggest while taking branches, you should move in a different direction, do it a different way, start from independent branches, then move on to foreign branches, then foreign head office, and then come back to dependent branches. You'll understand better. We have a 10 marks over there. We can get 10 marks from those topics. It's very important to do branches in a particular manner only. Very connected topic is departmental. We generally get a 4 marks or 5 marks question from departmental also. Very simple topic. In departmental accounts, we need to learn how profits are worked out for departments. It's very simple. It's a simple trading profit and loss account being made for the departments. We calculate the profit for each department. And there is one point regarding stock reserve. The only thing in department accounting is calculation of stock reserve. You have to just concentrate on those topics where there are some issues. In case we understand stock reserve, the whole departmental is over. There is nothing to be asked further. All the questions will revolve just around stock reserve. Try to make few questions on your own. In case institute asks such kind of things, how will I calculate the answer? You can take guidance of any senior also. But it's very important that you study. I always personally believe that self-study is the most important, crucial thing. When you do study on your own, things become very simple. Your retention power also becomes very, very longer. So these kind of things are to be kept in mind. One is employee stock option. Again, the topic is in CA final also. You can go about it, that topic also, in a different manner. I always make visualizations. Visualizations means generally when you read the question for the first time, you don't get everything into your heads. Try making one small visualization for it. Visualization means drawing one single line, just putting all the data of dates and values on that line, and understanding that particular line, that what the institute is asking. In case any complexity is there, what are the concepts that you have studied? With those concepts you can simplify anything. Your employee stock options topic is also very, very simple, and again it's in CA final also by the name called share based payments. So we should do that topic also in a very, very logical manner. Underwriting of shares. Generally we don't know the meaning of underwriting, but we start doing the questions. There are about 5 to 6 pages in your study material which explains what is the meaning of underwriting. We should read those topics, we should read those pages and understand what is the basic purpose of underwriting. Because all these things make a topic simpler. But we generally do shortcuts. First of all, we go to any particular coaching center and just wait for their classes when they will start. And whatever the teacher is teaching, that's enough. We generally believe like this. These are the few things which need to be changed in case we really want to succeed. Now there are few further things which I want to discuss with you. Those involve how to do revision. I always say to my students, in case you have not revised, there is nothing which can save you. Revision is the most critical part in the whole session of your planning. In case we don't revise, I always say revise it 5 times. Within 24 hours, what you have read, what you have done somewhere, about, depending upon various degrees, from 60 to 80%, things will be out of mind. But there is one eraser in the mind. The God has given one eraser. It's a very multifunctional eraser. In our head there is one eraser working 24 hours. The sad part is the eraser is working 24 hours, but we are not learning 24 hours. While you are studying, whatever you learned in the class, maybe in your notes, within 24 hours the auto eraser function will start functioning and it will erase what you have studied earlier. Because your mind does not know that these are the things which are needed in examination. For them, for the mind, it's just like any other news item. What you studied in the class is any other news item. But when you revise it for the second time, the auto eraser function stops for that file. It says, no, we must wait. The eraser stopped functioning on that file. The eraser is definitely with mind. It knows that the things are needed by the masters. The revision is very, very important. Revise it at least 5 times. There is one demonstration file on your webcast also. maybe it's not right now uploaded. It will get uploaded within 24 hours. I have this hard copy with me. In case you want to see, excuse me, can you please show this little bit of part? It lets you know how to prepare for the exams. There are few things written over there with certain cut-off dates, that how we should start with the preparation. There are certain question-based markings also. No, that you will get it downloaded later on. But one thing is very important. When I say revision, to what you have studied, whatever you have studied, that need to be revised. There comes the law of rectification also. You may make mistakes while revising. You may make certain mistakes. At that time, you need to mark those questions where you committed some mistakes. Those things are again to be revised, again to be covered. In case we don't rectify our mistakes, the same error can be committed again and again, again and again. So this revision sheet, I name it revision control sheets. This is for November 2013 examinations also. It's for May 14 examinations also. It contains various dates. Day by day planning is there. How you can start with your revision. What are the few important dates? For example, Institute puts mock examinations on its website. We generally don't care to do them. We should do mock examinations. We should do all the questions of practice manual. We should do all the questions from study material. Therefore, the revision sheet will assist you in planning those things so that you make your revision properly. You do all the things, you don't leave anything to chance. The revision is again very, very important. Generally, we don't have theory in paper 5 of IPCC. Generally, we don't have theory. But still, we must understand the basics of each topic. In case Institute asks any questions on the basic definition, meaning, feature, properties, merits, demerits, we can write a short note on that. For example, Institute can ask short note on underwriting of shares. Institute can ask questions on employees' stock options. So these are few things which you need to understand. Another point which I always ask my student is the presentation in exams. Whatever we do has to be presented. For example, maybe you did lot of planning, you did lot of practice, you did everything, but we are unable to write paper due to any reason. Will we succeed? No way. Writing of paper is very crucial. But in case we write the paper, but our handwriting is not legitimate, nobody can read them, we won't get marks. Hence, it's very crucial that we must improve our handwriting. Our handwriting, in case you see suggested answers, Institute every time gives the suggested answers. At the end of the suggested answers, there is one report from examiners. How fairly did students attempted that paper? And you will be astonished to know that one particular comment is common in all the suggested answers, and that is lack of expression. Students don't have expression. What does it mean, students don't have expression? It means that we are unable to write what you want to say. It's a simple thing. Expression means you want to express something, but we are unable to express ourselves. Now, how to improve expression apart from handwriting? Now, expression, let us understand, expression is not required in practical questions. In practical questions, we need a different type of approach. In theory questions only, we need expression. In theory questions, maybe particularly I am talking of accounting standard question, the questions are of case-based aspects. Maybe it involves certain judgments. The question will be giving you a particular situation and your comments are required on that situation. You need to comment on it. So at that time, students generally give a comment in a single sentence. That is not at all acceptable to the institutes. How to write a proper answer to a case-based question? I have divided that into 3 paragraphs. First paragraph says that we must draw some relevant authority. Generally students write case-based answer like this, in my opinion this happens. Arey bhai, the institute is not asking your opinion. You need to tell from where you are drawing the authority. Refer the accounting standard. Refer accounting standard number. Refer relevant para in case you remember the paragraphs also. And quote the relevant texts in case you are available, or in case the text is not available, quotes the content, what is there in the text. The first paragraph must tell the case relates to the particular standard and this is the relevant issue. In case you want to score 4 marks or 5 marks in the case-based question, the first thing is to give the relevant authority that this is required. In the second paragraph, we should discuss the facts of the case. We should give in detail the situation, what is being given in the question. Relate that first paragraph and the second paragraph also, in the second paragraph itself. Relate the given case with the relevant authority, what you have written earlier. This is what your institute asks from you. And in the third paragraph, in case there is one alternative view, any alternative thought, that has to be given in the third paragraph. In third paragraph, in case, not necessarily every time. Don't make it a point on writing third paragraph in each and every situation. Wherever the situation demands, wherever you feel that yes, there is something to be discussed regarding any alternative approach, then only give that alternative approach. That is our third paragraph. Expression can be improved only by these things. I'll strongly suggest, do write at least 2 or 3 case-based answers from each accounting standard. That will make marked difference. In case we are sincere enough, we'll definitely do it. Whatever institute is saying that our expression is not good, we'll fill that gap. We'll put in necessary things in line so that we can get the 4 marks on the particular accounting standard. Regarding presentation of practical questions, it's very simple. In practical questions, we need to give what has been asked. In case the question is asking of balance sheet or profit and loss, of course the balance sheet or profit and loss has to be prepared, but prepare in a proper format. In case that is required in revised schedule 6 format, follow the revised schedule 6 format. In case there is no particular format to be applied, try to make it in an Excel sheet format. You know Excel sheet format? Rows and columns. When we write answer in rows and columns, it definitely gives a very professional approach and professional look also. We cannot write each and everything in sentences. In practical questions, we need to show in a proper working notes. Whatever you are doing in the main solution has to be supported with the working notes. In case you feel some working note has to be given, you just put it the working note also. Another very simple query generally we get in the classes is that can we give working notes and the main solution altogether, or particular sequencing is required? Should we go first of all in preparation of the main solution followed by working note, or we can start with the main solution and preparing working notes in between. Is it possible? The answer is yes. We can prepare our main solution along with working notes. Generally, there is very high stress while you are attempting paper. We cannot go like this, that simply saying, no, the institute wants first of all main solution, then going to the working notes. No. You start with the working note, no issue. You start with the main solution, no issue. You start with the main solution, then go to working note, then continue with the main solution later on. For example, the institute have asked with the balance sheet and profit and loss, start with the balance sheet, prepare working notes for the balance sheet, come to profit and loss, prepare working notes for profit and loss. We can do like this. In case any rough work is required, rough work should not be done along with. It should be kept somewhere else. You get additional sheets. You can take one additional sheet. Put all your thoughts, all your rough work over that sheet. The sheet has to be attached along with. You can't take it to your home. So I was just saying, presentation of practical solutions is very, very important. We should properly present that. Give proper reporting for that. In case you want good marks, another important part is attempting of paper. In a particular case, in case student performs only 60% of the paper, he can't expect 80 marks out of 60. Even I can say not even 60 out of 60. There are few errors also over there, and you have to keep some margin for that also. I'll strongly suggest that we must attempt our paper to the 100%. Now everybody of you may say, sir, we always try doing 100% paper, but the paper is basically not complete. We are unable to complete within 3 hours period. We get 6 hours. No, not at all. We need to do in the 3 hours only. But how to do it in the 3 hours? It's a very important question. But the solution does not lie there. The solution lies somewhere else. You need to do mock examinations at home first of all. And mock examinations can be done only when you have completed your course. And generally in students' cases, what I have seen, their course is not complete before examinations also. Then how can the student can do mock examinations? Try doing the course, 100% of your course, in case your exams are in November. By 30th of September, your 100% course should be over. Do 2 or 3 mock examinations. Now you are living in the technology area. Your institute is supporting you. Lot of mock tests are there on the website. RTPs are there on the website, but you don't use them. Take out one mock examination, do it, and just do it completely. But just keep eye on your watch also to just know how much time you took on attempting the paper. In case you took more than 3 hours, next time improve your speed. Have you experienced in somewhere in, let us say, 12th or somewhere in 11th, maybe in CPT also? In first few questions, we are performing very slowly. Generally, we get the paper. We think the 3 hours is a very long period. It won't get over. We move in a very, very slow manner. Even sometime reading the first question 2 or 3 times. Writing a particular figure from paper, again rechecking it for the second time. This generally happens. And in the last, when the time is almost over, we are just putting in everything without cross-verifying it from the paper. I am saying that shows lack of practice, because we haven't practiced mock tests. In case we do mock tests, we'll be able to know what is the speed that is to be maintained for each question. As a thumb rule, I can say a 16 marks question should be done in 24 minutes. Whatever are the marks attached to a particular question, just multiply that marks with 1.5. You will come to know with the approximate time that is required for that particular solution. In case you are taking more than that, your paper is not going to complete. And in case paper is not complete, there is no question of making strategies. There is no question of doing anything else. In case we are unable to express ourselves in the paper, there is no question attempting everything. Now, at least 3 mock papers you must do. I have written in this sheet also. You need to do at least 3 mock tests. In case you are unable to get mock papers, maybe your city is not having internet, or maybe you are unable to download it, you must arrange from your friends or somewhere else the past papers. Attempt 2 or 3 past papers. You can definitely have suggested answers with you. Do few suggested answers. That will just give you the same feeling, the same experience that is required before attempting the paper of institute. It's very critical. So we must add to our strategy mock tests also. Another thing, what I generally say about students is that while they are attempting paper, they generally get lost in certain thoughts, maybe while doing anything. They get another, one thought comes to the mind, maybe the thing was not like this, it was something different. And we generally start asking anybody else in the classroom who is also giving the examination, asking what's the answer for that. Do not do dishonesty. In case you ask any of the friend sitting over there whether he can assist you in the paper, there is no purpose writing the paper. First of all, you can't believe that guy, whether he knows better than you, how it's guaranteed. Maybe the same fellow is also struggling with a certain similar thoughts in the mind, and you're asking the same fellow. And interestingly, the guy will definitely respond you. He will definitely let you know the answer as if he is aware of each and every fact. The reason being, he feels pleasures in telling somebody else that yes, I know the answer. But reality is, he also fighting with the same thoughts. There is no question asking anybody else in the examination hall about the solutions. Give what you know. That's it. We must be honest enough. The institute is going to test us, not our cheating skills. They are going to test our professional skills. So I strongly suggest you that we should make proper plans, we should make proper clarity of thoughts, do enough practice from study material, from revision test papers of ICI, from past papers. That will definitely assist us. As a specimen purpose, I have already sent you through this webcast only one summary of Accounting Standard 16. I will prefer my students to make such kind of summaries for each and every topic, each and every accounting standard. Try making some similar summaries. You can just download it later on and just read it. It has been extracted from the accounting standard. Few things have been added, few things have been deleted, and the things have been made more simpler. Try making similar notes for each and every standard. Accounting Standard 26 deals with intangible assets. I always ask my students, what are intangible assets? The very critical part is, genuinely speaking, students don't know the meaning of assets also. In case I ask certain persons, what do you mean by assets? Generally they respond by giving examples of assets. They say plant and machinery, they say furniture and fittings, they say stock, they say debtors. But I say, what's the exact definition of assets? Institute has given it in its framework, conceptual framework. It was issued way back in 2000, where it explained the meaning of assets, the meaning of liabilities, meaning of income, meaning of expenses, users of financial statements, the concepts of capital, physical maintenance capital, financial capital maintenance concepts. These things are dealt over there. This is the framework of accounting. We need to understand that before we proceed kind of intangible asset, let us understand the meaning of assets. This kind of things will definitely help. Similar accounting standard. There is a running controversy on proposed dividend. Running controversy. Whether proposed dividend is liability or not. Where should we show proposed dividend? Proposed dividend does not qualify the definition of liabilities given by ICAI. It does not qualify the definition. Here the definition of liability says the liability means present obligation. The very first word is present obligation. And proposed dividend is not present obligation. We cannot say proposed dividend is liability, but still it is shown as liability because of accounting standard 4, which requires the proposed dividend or similar type of liabilities should be shown as current liability. Though accounting standard 4 is in the process of being updated, Institute has already issued exposure drafts and things may change soon. But as on today, this is not liability but shown as liability. We show it as liability as per accounting standards 4. Later on what happens, that we don't know. So we should first of all, such kind of things have to be made clear. This accounting standard should be made more clear. Just expecting on the things that you may have the query on proposed dividend. That's the reason I've discussed proposed dividend also with you. Regarding earning per share, accounting standard 20, practicals are very important. We are not going to get any theory questions on earning per share. We are going to get practical questions. We need to do ample practice. There are few questions given in the appendix to accounting standard 20. Apart from that, there are few questions in your study material, in your revision test paper, in your practice manual. We need to do them. We need to understand them. Accounting standard 20 deals with earning per share. Generally students think earning per share is the earnings earned by the company, but I don't agree. Earnings per share is not earning earned by the company. This is the earning speed of the company. At what pace earnings are earned by the company. It's the pace of earning. It does not truly represent the actual earnings of the company. It only represents the pace of earning. The formula has been drafted like that only. India's 33 deals in a different manner, but in India, the India's 33 is not yet applicable. Hence we need to follow accounting standard 20 in its true sense, what it says. There are few other accounting standards also which needs some discussion. For example, we have accounting standard 4. Some people say there is one accounting standard 4, there is another accounting standard 29. Both are dealing with the provisions, how they are different to each other. Accounting standard 4 deals with provisions. It deals with provisions, but only provisions relating to assets are dealt by that standard. And all the provisions relating to liabilities are dealt by accounting standard 29. It means while we are making provisions on doubtful debtors, that is not dealt by accounting standard 29. They are dealt by accounting standard 4. So few things you need to keep in your head that will make accounting standard simple. I think this is the basic strategy which is required for examinations. Now we can start with the question answer sessions. And ma'am is there with a few questions.
So we have received a query from the student from the chapter Amalgamation and Internal Reconstruction. How much will be in group 1 and 2?
Practically speaking, amalgamation in group 1 and group 2 cannot be differentiated, though our syllabus says that basic accounting concepts regarding amalgamation are in group 1 and advanced accounting concepts are in group 2. Therefore, while in syllabus we have demarcation that there are few elementary questions for group 1 and advanced questions for group 2, but we have seen certain papers. For example, in November 2010, we got a question from intercompany holdings and that also cross-holding, which we generally see in CA finals. So we cannot exactly make clear differentiation. So I will strongly suggest that we should do all the questions from group 1 as well as group 2. In both groups, the level should be same.
And sir, one student is asking that is there any difference in amalgamation group 1 and group 2, or otherwise group 2 amalgamation can be asked in group 1?
Yeah, that was I saying that institute can ask questions in group 1 as well as group 2 and the questions can be similar. Even internal reconstruction, the questions can be quite similar. And frankly speaking, the syllabus says advanced questions are supposed to be asked in group 2 and elementary questions are supposed to be asked in group 1, but I have seen it otherwise also. In November 2010, we got a question which was quite typical, cross holdings in group 1 where the level is elementary, and in November 2011 we got very elementary question in group 2. So we cannot make any differentiation, the level is same, we should prepare accordingly. The level should be considered as advanced for group 1 as well as group 2.
A student is asking, sir, the amendments in the electricity chapter are new things which they have to study, and is there any relevance for the previous topics?
Can we name the student also? No.
The student is Deepak Gupta.
Yeah. Deepak, the questions we are expecting in electricity company this time or maybe next time, they relates to the calculation of tariff. There is one major change in electricity company. Whatever you studied earlier, like replacement of components, you did earlier. You did formats like statement of capital expenditure, statement of capital and loan, journal balance sheet. Now they are not relevant. Just skip those things and concentrate on the new things. Deepak, we are going to get questions this time. But I am not saying this time for the paper only, but we need to study it properly. We will be getting questions from tariff and how to calculate depreciation for electricity companies. The calculation of depreciation, we have a very complex rates for depreciation. They are already in your study material. You can go through those rates and study those rates. There are a few illustrations also, go through those illustrations. That is required. We don't need any kind of replacement of component or calculation of profits or calculation of reasonable return. Those things are now not required.
Sir, another student named Neha, she is asking that if the compulsory question is left unattempted, we will fail the paper irrespective of marks what we get.
No, not at all, Neha. This is total myth. What you are saying is that in case we don't attempt the first question, which is compulsory one, the institute will not let you qualify. It's not at all the case. The ultimate qualification lies only in the percentage you score. But I will strongly say that first question is the first question and the seventh question. They are the questions where maximum marks can be gained because the questions are of small subparts. They are independent parts. 5 marks question, and you need to do about 8 subpart questions. It's a very 4 parts from first question and the 4 parts from group the last 7th question. These 8 subpart questions give you the maximum scores. They're all independent. In case, let us say I don't know one particular part, then also I can score remainder marks. But in case we go on for a question which is of 16 marks question, and we are unable to solve, let us say, any particular calculation properly, So in that case, the chances of losing 16 marks, but here the chances of losing are only 4 marks. So you should make a strategy accordingly. That first question and seventh question must be attempted.
So similar to the earlier one what I just asked, the student is asking what kind of strategy should they follow for covering the syllabus of accounts, and it should be a regular one, and how to complete the syllabus on time.
Sandeep, the important part is that planning needs to be made very, very strong for that. You said how to do it on timely basis. When you say timely basis, you need to start timely. You need to make proper plans. You can download that revision plan sheet, but exactly follow all the dates and points. In case we are able to do all our revisions on time, all our courses on time, definitely we can make the difference this time.
So there is a student named Anmol. He is asking that while preparing financial statement, depreciation should be charged as per accountancy or income tax rates.
Oh my God, Anmol, what you are asking the depreciation should be charged as per accountancy or tax while you are preparing accounts statements. The simple logic says you need to apply depreciation as per accounts. The tax people will not allow you depreciation what you have given in the accounts. They will disallow the depreciation and they will again allow it as per their rates. But that allowance is basically in only computation of income. That is not in the books of accounts. Books of accounts remain same, where the depreciation is from actual accountancy concepts. Yeah.
So one last question. What is the difference between conveyance allowance, transport allowance and traveling allowance?
I think Abhishek has asked this question regarding taxation. Conveyance allowance, transport allowance and traveling allowance in accountancy means the same. They may have some differences for taxation purposes, but not for accountancy purposes, because they are all same. They are all general expenses. In revised schedule 6 you need to put all these items. In employee benefit expenses in case they relate to their personal benefits, and in other expenses in case they are official expenses. Yeah.
Fine sir, thank you with dealing with the queries. We can continue with the lecture.
Oh, thank you ma'am. So I was just discussing with the strategy, and the basic strategy was how to prepare for the exams, and we did certain things. Another thing I want to tell you is about, we have one PowerPoint presentation also, you must have downloaded that. One is positive thinking is very important. We should strongly believe that in case we have the thoughts that yes, we can do it, we can definitely at that case do it. You should not think that how shall I start the course. You always keep in mind that yes, we are chartered accountants. Always believe like this, we are chartered accountants. And I can say strongly also to you, for example, you are studying any insurance company or banking company. Whatever you are going to study in banking company, you are not going to get it again in CA finals. So what you studied over here in group 2, that is not in CA final. It means whatever the knowledge any chartered accountant is having regarding banking company formats, that's the only knowledge any chartered accountant can get. You are already chartered accountant. Whenever you study a particular topic, always start thinking that yes, any newly qualified CA also knows this much. What I have studied in group 2, only that much part is studied by all other chartered accountants. So you should do accordingly. You should always think in that manner. You know, the things become very simple just by thinking in this manner. Now, although my basic strategy part is complete, but we are left with some time, so I will explain you Accounting Standard 26. In the meantime, it will be very much beneficial also. You will study also, you will enjoy also. Now, what is the basic definition of intangible assets? What is the meaning of intangible assets? Intangible asset means any identifiable, your AS says any identifiable, non-monetary, the asset which is not monetary, asset, meaning of asset is to be studied. Any identifiable non-monetary assets without its physical substance held for use in production, in rendering of services, in administration purposes, in rental purposes. This is the definition given by the Accounting Standard 26. Now when you study this definition, the first thing is, what do you mean by identifiable? Lot of things are there in your Accounting Standard book, lot of things are there in your other things also. Identifiable can be very in very small words we can say identifiable means which is capable of sale. Hence I can say intangible assets are those which are capable of sale. When I say capable of sale, it means those things which are not capable of sale are not intangible assets. For example, preliminary expenses. Preliminary expenses are not capable of sale. So in any situation, they are not intangible assets. Your paragraph 56 of AS 26 says that preliminary expenses will be transferred to profit and loss accounts. It won't be shown in the balance sheets. It will be shown in profit and loss account. Similarly, underwriting commission, advertisement suspense, location shifting expenses, they are all to be transferred to P&L because they are not identifiable. The very first statement, identifiable, let us know that yes, any intangible asset can be intangible asset only in case it is capable for sale. Another point is non-monetary. What is non-monetary? Monetary means due to which we are going to get few particular fixed amounts. For example, in case of debtors, we have a contract. They are all contracted amounts. And your intangible asset says that they are non-monetary. It means your AS does not apply to financial asset. Debtors are not, though they may be intangible, debtors are not tangible because debtors signifies right to receive money. Debtors are not tangibles. So it means we need to understand that tangible assets, debtors, they are all not covered by this standard. The definition is very simple. It says identifiable, non-monetary assets, and it says they should be without physical substance. When I say without physical substance, I mean to say it should not have substance on its own. It should not have any substance which can be touched. For example, software, for example, websites, we can't touch them. They are already stored in servers. The servers can be touched, but they are not, they are storage device. What we need is, we need to understand that those assets which can be touched, they are tangible assets, which can't be touched, they don't have the substance on their own. They are all intangible assets. So these are basic few things. Your AS 26 further says that these intangible assets should be held for a particular purpose. The purpose can be use in production of goods, or for rendering of services, or for administrative rental purposes. It means in case of inventory, inventory does not qualify any of these. Your inventory says it's held for sale, but your AS 26 says held for use in administration purpose, for rental purpose, for production purposes. It means inventory is not covered again by your Accounting Standard 26. So whenever you go for particular standard, we need to start from the very first definition. When you start with Accounting Standard 16, you first of all concentrate on the meaning of borrowing cost. What is borrowing cost? You need to do the logics of borrowing cost. All the accounting standards have a basic particular root from where the whole of the standard is just revolving around that. We need to know that accounting standard, particular accounting standards have to given due importance for that part. This is given in paragraph 6, what I was telling. So we should first of all identify intangible assets, and then your standard moves on to say how can these assets be recognized. Every accounting standard, all accounting standards deal with the definition part, its recognition part, its derecognition part, and its presentation part. How things are shown in the balance sheet, how they are recognized, how they are derecognized, and what's the basic meaning. The similar accounting standard 26 also goes in the same manner. It also lets us know the basic meaning of intangible assets. Then it go on to say how they should be recognized. Now, let us understand recognition better. Recognition means recording of the assets in the financial statements. When we record the financial statements, we need to know that in case we acquire particular intangible asset, let us say we have purchased an intangible asset, then purchased intangible asset should be recorded at cost price, because in India we follow historical cost accounting. So asset will be shown in the books at historical cost. What is the actual cost? That will be shown at that price only. The first thing is recognition. In case we acquire, the cost will be very simple. The purchase price plus taxes on purchase plus any other valuation expenses, combined any other legal title expenses, all these expenses combined will be shown as part of intangible assets. In case we don't purchase intangible asset, but we get it through any exchange. When I say exchange, I mean to say we got intangible assets and we settled the amount by giving another asset, maybe tangible or maybe intangible, but other than cash. We purchased one software and we gave our laptop to somebody. This is called exchange. At that time, what should be the value at which such asset should be recorded? The value will be the fair value of asset obtained, intangible asset obtained, fair value of the asset obtained, or fair value of assets surrendered, whichever is more clearly evident. Clearly evident means for which we have clear evidence that yes, this is more reliable value. So your AS explains, it's a very common sense based logic, that when we purchase particular assets, we should show it on costs. When we get it through exchange, because it's a barter transaction, we have exchanged with somebody, at that time, the fair value should be seen, what we are getting and what we are giving. The fair value which is more reliable should be considered as the logical value. In case we get certain intangible assets through government grants. Now what is government grants? At certain times we get any particular intangible asset through grants. For example, 2G license. Lot of things running in media these days about 2G license, about coal license. Number of things. These are all licenses which government has given to some particular individual or company at a very throwaway price. And the issue is whether we should charge commercial price from such persons or should we charge the normal price. Our accounting standard states that in case we get any kind of intangible asset from Government of India, such assets should be recorded at the concessional price. They should be recorded at the price paid. For example, in the case of 2G license, Idea Cellular got the license for 1635 crores. And the CAG told the value of license to be more than 10,000 crores. But the license was given for only 1635 crores. Now, at what value Idea Cellular Limited must have recorded that asset? Idea should have recorded that asset at 1635 crores only. The actual price paid. At actual cost incurred on that asset. And in case we get the license at a free price, without any particular payment, let us say, without any payments, free of costs, at that time, we should record it at nominal value with a corresponding capital reserve. You will be recording that asset also with a corresponding capital reserve. That is the methodology. So it means I told you three methods of how we can get intangible assets. We can purchase it from the markets. We can get it from Government of India. We can get it through exchange also. Another methodology of getting intangible asset is by self-generating such intangible assets. Now, what is self-generating intangible assets? It means where intangible assets are generated by the entity. They are preparing, they are creating that intangible asset on their own. Number of things, number of intangible assets which are self-generated cannot be recorded because its cost cannot be reliably measured. For example, goodwill. Goodwill, if we purchase it from the market, we will record it definitely at cost incurred. But in case we get goodwill, by own generation, we are creating our own goodwill. The cost cannot be calculated. What is the cost? And because we cannot calculate its actual costs, therefore your AS says that the asset should not be recognized. We have similar assets like goodwill called brands. Brands will also be not recorded because in that case also we are unable to identify its actual costs. So in case of brands, titles, goodwill, they should not be recorded in the books of accounts in case we have self-generated them. You have seen the title of the newspaper Hindustan Times, Times of India, Aaj Tak, Kal Tak, Subah Tak. These are all titles. The titles will not be recorded in the books of account, but definitely the titles will be recorded in case they have been purchased. Let us say the title Aaj Tak was purchased by the Living Media Company from any other source. At that case, in such cases, the title will be definitely recorded. In that case, it is not self-generated. It is purchased intangible assets. In case we generate on our own, in that case, goodwill, patents, copyrights, titles, brands are not to be recorded. But what about softwares, formulations, know-how? Are they to be recorded? The answer is yes. They need to be recorded. In case we purchase them, definitely yes. In case we generate them, then also yes. But there are few rules for that. In case we generate some assets, let us say we are creating one software, one website, one formula, one know-how, we'll make one differentiation. The expenditure incurred in the research phase, whatever is the expenditure that has been incurred in research phase, that will be shown to the profit and loss. And the expenditure that we have incurred in the development phase, the rest of the phase, that will be capitalized with the value of assets. Hence, whatever is the expenditure incurred on creation of software will be split into two parts. One is research phase, another is development phase. The critical point will be how to make distinction that here research ends and development begins. How do we know that? For that, your standard gives few basic rules of classification, that when does development stage begins. Hence, while studying, in case you keep on visualizing these things, I am just summarizing the standard, but I am trying to visualize it. So the things will become simple. There is no need to read it each and every word, but you know, when you just read few things, just try to make it that how the things will move in the real world. You will understand them better. Now, while I was discussing how to make differentiation between research and development, there are few things to be kept in mind. Number one, what is technically it should be feasible. You know, when you start with, let us say, creation of any software, you need to first of all plan about it. You need to discuss with some experts also and know whether we can create what we are thinking. Is it technically feasible to create such kind of thing? In case we are still pondering on this question whether we can create it or not, it means we are still in research phase. It means the phase is of research. Any pharma company is looking for a particular medicine. I studied it somewhere in newspaper 2 or 3 days back. You must have also studied. The Ranbaxy laboratory is saying that it is now ready with the dengue medicine. Dengue or dengue, whatever you call. I'm not sure whether they have the medicine formula or not, but they must have started their research earlier. And they must have developed some formula. Now they are saying that yes, we have some medicine for dengue. I'm saying when they started, they were not even at that time aware whether they will be able to make that medicine or not. At some point of time, they must have got the clue, yes, we can make that formula. And that point, we call it, yes, it's technically feasible. When it's technically feasible, only then development stage becomes. Another thing is, development stage cannot begin in case we don't have the necessary resources. In case we are arranging for some expert persons, maybe we need some resource people for that. We need finances for that. We need permissions from Government of India. In case those things are needed, again then also it's not development phase. Development phase will be where the product, where that software, where that medicine is technically feasible and we have necessary resources for its production. And yes, we have the intention for producing such intangible asset also. In case we have intention to produce, then only we can go forward further. In case I don't have intention to do a particular thing, I have the resources, I know it's technically possible, but I don't have the intention. At that point, we can't say that yes, the product will get developed because I don't have intention of developing it. The point is, the management should give a resolve that yes, we are intending to produce this intangible asset. Then comes another issue, another restriction. The intangible asset must have future economic benefits. It's a very important thing. We are getting the source from the definition of asset. Asset says that there must be some future economic benefits. And the same thing I am saying to you. Let us say, for example, you are making one software at your home just for your own purpose. You don't need it anywhere. In generally school's age, you must have also developed some of the Excel sheets, some of the small softwares. Even some of may have developed some tones also in their music classes. But were they commercially viable? While you were studying in your school, your music teacher gave you some homeroom solutions, some homeroom jobs to make one dhun or tone for a school song. You did lot of practice and riyaz for that. But was that commercially developed tone? No. You did lot of things. Maybe you arranged also for some resources also for those things. But still, they are not held for economic benefits. Hence, you cannot report those tones in your balance sheet. In case you are preparing your balance sheet in your books, you can't show them as assets. So it means the companies, whatever they are developing, in case it has some commercial value, then only it will be called as intangible asset. In case there is no commercial value, we can't recognize it as intangible assets. It means these are the 4 basic conditions for the beginning of development stage. When all these few conditions are satisfied, then only we call it this, yes, we are in development stage. Then arises that once we have recognized the asset, how should we de-recognize it? When I say de-recognize, it means how to remove it from the books of accounts. We need to eliminate it from books of accounts. But how? Intangible assets can be eliminated, can be removed only by its amortization. Your AS gives guidelines on amortization of intangible asset. It says how to amortize intangible assets. It says that intangible assets must be written off in the ratio of future economic benefits, and ratio of future economic benefits means whatever the benefits we are expecting in future. In case we are unable to get the ratio, then we can write it off over a particular span of, let us say, 10 years, which is considered to be most reasonable. This is the assumed value. And in case we want to write it off in a shorter period, definitely we can do that also. In case we write it off in a longer period, for that we need justification. We need to write it in notes that yes, we are writing off. For example, a stockbroker in Delhi, he is writing off his stock brokership rights in 99 years because the benefit of stock brokership will be for a unlimited period. He is writing it off in 99 years. Yes, it's allowed. Your AS does not say that the life cannot be 99 years. Life can be 99 years. It says generally it is assumed life of 10 years only, not more than that. Generally it is assumed. So we should write it off. We should write off all our assets intangible within a period of 10 years. There are a few questions. Let me take those questions also. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, sir. We have received certain more questions from the students. There is a student named Venkatesh. He is asking that do we need to balance sheet in schedule format for all the questions, or we need to prepare only if required by the question?
Venkatesh, very good question. Venkatesh is asking us in detail, are we required to prepare notes for each and every item of balance sheet in a numbered form, or they are to be prepared only when they are specifically asked? Venkatesh, in case institute asks any particular question, any notes, then definitely they need to be prepared separately. Otherwise, we may or may not prepare. There is no argument for saying that yes, we should always prepare. We can or we may not opt for preparing those schedules. I'll strongly suggest, in case we start preparing schedules, it will involve a lot of time. So you should try to make it your balance sheet. Just for example, I'll just show you. Write first heading equity and liability, then shareholder funds, writing the first item share capital, but don't prepare note for share capital. Just give its details, fine details there only. Authorized capital, inner column, issued and paid up capital, inner column, preferential capital, inner column, and just put the total outside balance sheet. It's as good acceptable as you had prepared the schedule for capital. In case we prepare a proper note for capital, it will involve a lot of time. So you should prepare your balance sheet in a very, very logical manner, giving all the information in balance sheet itself, and definitely we can prepare schedules also. In case you have little bit extra time, you can definitely prepare. But in case question asks you the schedules, then definitely you have to prepare schedules properly. Yes, ma'am.
The next question is asked by Sashi. He is asking the rates of depreciation for the purpose of electricity company.
Yeah. The depreciation rates are different for all the assets. For example, 5.99% for certain category of plant and machinery. We don't expect students to learn those rates. The rates will be definitely given in your question because they are typical rates. We are not supposed to, the rates are running in 3 pages. We are not expected to learn those rates. But yes, the important thing is, in your study material, what you need to do is, they will be giving you the value of assets, value of the rates also will be given, calculate the amount of depreciation, then calculate the weighted average depreciation. And that weighted average depreciation will be used while calculating the tariff. That is the basic rule that should be understood. So it means depreciation rates are not to be learned, they are just simply to be expressed in the solution.
Sir, another question by Ayush Garg. It's a very general one, I guess. Should we go for individual groups or should we appear in both the groups? Is there any benefit of giving both the groups together from evaluation perspective?
Not at all, Venkatesh. Ayush
Garg.
Ayush, there is nothing like that. In case you go for both groups, results will be better. This is all myth. Nothing like this happens at the institute level. All papers are independently evaluated. There is no question saying that should we go for both. In case we are ready for both group, we should definitely go for both group. Rank can be obtained only by both group. So in case you are preparing for ranks, definitely both groups. Otherwise, just considering that I will be giving both group and there are fairly better chance of clearing it, I don't agree with that.
There is always a difference in balance sheet. How can we rectify them? This has been asked by Paras Gupta.
Paras, you are saying your balance sheet is also always having some difference. That only shows double entry rules are not being properly followed or some silly mistakes like totaling errors are being done at your level. In case you genuinely want to rectify that, you need to practice it again. Practice the topics again. And again, whenever you are writing any figures, try to think what should be its second effect. For each and every item, there is definitely second effect. Yesterday I was telling somebody in hire purchase, while calculating profit, we created one stock reserve item. The stock reserve created in P&L, but nobody thought what's the second effect. Second effect will be it has to be shown in the balance sheet. It has to be shown in the balance sheet as a reduction to hire purchase stock. But generally, students don't go into those details. And when they are asked to prepare balance sheet, they forget to transfer stock reserve. That's the reason their balance sheet does not tally. Always make it a point that whenever any particular new item is being discussed, you should see what should be the second treatment for this item. And you should practice more, Ayush, in case you want genuinely to succeed.
A student is asking how to prepare for advanced accounts and from which chapter to start with. He is asking about, sir, the strategy for preparation in advanced accounting.
Great.
Aditi.
Aditi, the question is that from where should we start? I have my personal thoughts over there, not on this particular question. The same thing, everybody is struggling with their particular, you are struggling with the course, I may be struggling with my own task lists. But how to rule those things? So what I have developed is, I always try in the morning that smaller things should be done, of course they should be in a priority also. The smaller things should be done in the first half of the day. That gives a lot of confidence, at least to me. Whenever in the morning, I use Evernote, one reminder is there. In the morning at 5 o'clock, I get the mail from Evernote that these are the few things to be done today. I just sort them and try to do the smaller things first of all. That gives me a lot of confidence for the rest of the day. The same rules applies to you. When you are starting with your accounts subjects, try to find out what are the smaller topics that will give you a lot of confidence. For example, start with employee stock option, a very 2 or 3 hours topic. Start with underwriting of the shares and debentures. Again, very small topic. Start with buyback of shares. Again, very small topic. And I told you in the earlier half about 10 marks question is asked from these 3 topics. You get lot of confidence, just by doing all, you feel like that, yes, I can do all other things also. Then go for electricity company, because being important one, fairly better chance of coming in examination. Go for insurance company, again a very small, only format based topic. And topics like branches, topic like amalgamation, topic like, liquidation, they should be postponed to the later parts. But one thing is more, smaller things take lesser time. That should not give you so much of confidence that you try wasting your times. You're just wasting because you have done number of things. You are saying that, okay, I will do branch later on, amalgamation later on, not waste the time. Just gain the confidence, use the savings in time for the bigger topics. That will give you a lot of another motivation also to do further. That's the basic technique what I suggest should be followed.
Sir, Rishika is asking, is there a connection between department accounts and branch accounts?
Connection in branch accounts and department accounts does not practically exist. Both are altogether different topics. There is no similar points in these 2 topics except calculation of stock reserve. But that is in hire purchase also. You can't say that all these are connected topics. But it makes no difference. You can start from department, you can start from branch, you can do any of them earlier, any of them later. It makes no difference. So we can do any of the topics.
Praveen is asking, why loan paid is treated as depreciation in the electricity company?
That's the reason Arvind Kejriwal is struggling at number of places in Delhi. The same question, because we don't know generally that what the government of India has done to us. The tariff rates are quite high because the repayment of loan is treated as expenditure of the electricity company. Their expenditure side is definitely higher. I am paying my loans, how it can be called expenditure? But the tariff act says, they says whatever the loan amount is being paid, treat that amount as expenditure. When you treat that amount as expenditure, your expenditure side is on a heavier side, hence we can raise more tariffs. Now Bharatiya Janata Party is saying we will reduce 30% tariff. How? How currently they are so high? The reason being the loan paid has been made as an expenditure by the government of India. And now the question you may ask later on, why government of India did like this? Because our energy sector is right now in shambles. We are generating 80,000 megawatt of electricity through coals. All coal companies, they are not paying their debts. Because the companies are not paying debts, government allowed them to increase tariff but pay the debts. It means government is practically favoring those persons, those who have given debts to the coal companies, to the electricity companies, that yes, you can raise electricity tariff, but definitely please pay the loan amount. It means that electricity companies are just for the sake of repayment, they have been given one incentive. You can raise the tariff rate, show loan repayment as your expenditure, increase the tariff, but definitely pay the loan. The one thing is definitely there. The electricity companies are now paying their debts dues. But at whose costs? Of course, we, the Indian people. But we are here to just study the examination exams, and your question was why it is treated. I gave the answer. There are certain reasons for the policy makers only. But in case for examination purpose, the question may be asked like how to work out the tariff rates. The loan amount will be treated as expenditure only at that point.
So one last question. Other than material issued by ICAI, any books you would like to suggest for them which is helpful for the preparation of the subject? Ashik is asking.
Ashik, I don't say that other books are required for CA preparation. I will strongly suggest ICAI study modules, RTPs, past examination questions, revision test papers, mock test questions. They are reasonably enough for proper scoring. I don't think you should go for any other kind of material, any other kind of things. You should continue with these things only. And most of the teachers, those who are teaching also, they are also not having their question bank from any other source. They are also teaching only these things. So these are at your disposal. You can go through them. The only issues is sometimes they may not be updated. You may get few questions in your RTP or in practice manual which are from the old formats, or maybe they are not from updated content. So that's the only energy, only thing that you have to apply. The only thing you need to do is only update them. That's the only thing. So you first of all read that topic from any updated material, and in case you get understanding of the updated thing, you can definitely change the solutions of the other things also. But the question bank is definitely very strong of the ICI, and you should go for it. You should definitely continue with that material only. There is no need to go for any other kind of publication or any kind of teacher's notes. Thank you.
Yeah, so these were the questions, so we can carry on with
Yeah.
the lecture.
I was continuing regarding derecognition concepts. So derecognition is basically the intangible assets were to be derecognized. I told you that the time span has been given. Within that period, we have to write it off, the intangible assets. And in case we want to write it off in a longer period, and that period is justified, you know, I told about that stockbroker. The stockbroking company is writing off that intangible asset in 99 years. There is another company called DS Construction in Gurgaon. They got toll rights. They have toll rights. You know, they have made one road and put the toll over there. You must have paid toll number of times also on number of roads. So that toll is for 33 years. The expenditure incurred by the company on development of that road has been shown as toll licensing rights. The name of the company is DS Construction Limited. And they are writing off that toll license in a span of 33 years. So your standard says that yes, we can write it off in a period of more than 10 years in case it is justified, and in case of softwares and websites the period is of 3 to 5 years. We can take it 3 years, we can take it 4 years, we can take it 5 years. So derecognition has to be done. Any asset which comes to the balance sheet has to be derecognized. Your standard definitely defines that yes, it has to be derecognized in the ratio of benefits, and the benefits will be estimated by you, it will be reviewed by you every year, and any changes will be made accordingly. These were few things what were relevant regarding intangible assets. So what I did in a very short time, I told you few critical things about standard. While you are also studying, try to make few notes, try to make few important summaries of the standards. Whenever you are free, whenever you find time, you should study them, you should go about them, understand those topics more sincerely. Another thing students generally ask is regarding Ind AS, whether Ind AS are in course or not. Every time the question is same, the Ind AS, are they relevant for the syllabus or not? My dear friends, Ind AS are not at all relevant right now for your examinations. Every time in your notification given by the institute just before examinations, it defines that Ind AS are not relevant. They are not to be done. Don't waste your time on such kind of things. Generally students feel like that, yes, I am doing some research work, I am trying to find out whether Ind AS in course or not. It is not productive study. Productivity lies not in thinking about a particular course. Productivity lies in practicing the things in the course. In case you are not studying but asking few things from your friends, whether that thing is important or not, making some charts, making some diagrams, making one trend analysis. We haven't given you in the PPT any trend analysis. There is nothing like trend in institutes. There is no trend. You may get questions of AS more than 22 marks, you may get questions from AS less than 22 marks. It's a professional examination. It's not your school examination that there should be a particular trend. So we need to do our studies properly. Of course, we should prefer doing 100% of syllabus. We should prefer. Though in examinations it may happen that the question you got has not been done by you earlier. Don't worry, don't lose heart. Nothing lost. Students always say, after May there is November. After November there is again May. The tragedy of again students is, when you are in May, November is quite near. So you say, okay, this time I don't have the proper preparation, I'll wait for November. But while November is near, again he sees May. It's very, very troublesome. You should start a preparation, define the things, what you want to study, and then practice those things. Complete your course 1 month before examinations. Do at least 3 mock tests. Improve your expression. All writing skills should be honed. And in case everything is fine, then only you should sit for examinations. One thing is more, we cannot clear our examinations unless other 2 papers of group 2 are also through. And rest 2 papers are of theory. ITSM is also a kind of theory only, and audit is definitely of theory part only. Do take time for making a proper strategy for audit and ITSM along with accounts. In case you are studying for whole day accountancy, it's not possible. After certain time, your mind will not work for particular thing. I personally believe after 4 to 5 years of continuous study of accounts, you should change your subject, maybe audit or maybe ITSM. Make few notes for that. The same thing should be repeated every day, studying for the first few hours accountancy, or maybe last few hours of accountancy, studying audit, ITSM for the rest of the hours. Like studying for full day accountancy, your productivity will be very low. So in case you want to genuinely improve the productivity, you have to make some variety also in your studies. So accountancy will definitely give you lot of interesting things to practice. Mix in that your audit. It will also complement. For example, in case of banking companies, your audit material also covers up to certain level banking aspects. So while we are studying banking in audit, few things we are studying in accounts also. The things can be complemented. We can definitely apply the concepts of accounts in auditing and concepts of auditing in accounts. So try making things easier. Try doing all the things in a simple manner. That's important. ITSM, I am not of ITSM person, but definitely I feel that ITSM also very, very simple thing. In case we do it properly, just try to go for module also. Modules are very quite simple. So these are the few things what I feel so I had come to discuss with you. Any other queries are there, ma'am? So can we just round up?
We just get it, sir.
Yeah.
Give us 2 minutes.
Okay. So Dr. Ravi is also coming. In the meantime, I have given the presentations. You can just go through them. What I have concentrated is hard work. Do proper planning, proper research. Everything is written over there. Importance of revision is very important. Whatever you have studied, it's very important to revise those things. So these things should be done. Of course, visualization, visualizing everything. Whatever you are doing it, try to visualize those things. In case we are visualizing the things, our memory increases through visualization. Whenever you understand anything, try to write it in your own language along with that. Write few things about that particular thing in a summary form. That will give you one, last minute tip of revision. We can just try to note those things in a particular diary, and when you are revising for the last time, you can just go through those things. These things definitely assist us while attempting paper. Another question generally I get is pressure management. There is no question on that. Pressure management is definitely your own skill. There is no formula for that. It's a mental attitude. Reduce your pressure. I always say, CA is not at all tough, but generally students go and increase their stress level very, very high. Don't increase stress level. Always try to make things simpler. There is nothing to be learnt. You should take proper rest, do meditation, and of course study few things about the rank holders, how they did. Institute's website tells you about how rankers attempted their exam, how they prepared their exam. So definitely you can understand those things from there. These are few things I told you about preparation level, how to do preparation, how to do better. Yes.
So sir, we can take up certain queries?
Yeah.
Sir,
Gone. Questions are gone from me. Sir, 2 minutes आप continue करें.
जी. We are getting your questions. We'll be attempting those questions also. What are the queries you are again asking? We'll be telling you the response to those queries. In the meantime, you should go for preparation of notes for each and everything. Notes should be prepared in the own language. In case you are studying in Hindi, try to make the notes in Hindi, in your own language. In case you are studying in English, try to make the notes in English. The notes should be very, very simple. They should not be of technical thing. They should be of very, very simple language. Elementary explanation should be there. Revising each and everything is again critically important. Very, very important. Accountancy has to be read, I strongly believe. I always say to my students, rent account debit to cash does not mean rent account debit to cash. It means rent paid. We should, yeah.
Sir, we can take up certain questions.
Yeah.
A student is asking that miscellaneous expenditure are our expenses, but why they treat as assets in our balance sheets? He is very confused for this.
No, not at all. I don't agree.
He is Satinder, sir.
Satinder, your query was that miscellaneous expenditure is expenditure, why it is shown in the balance sheet from 2002. The things have changed from 2002 onwards. The things have changed. Your accounting standard 26, para 56 states that miscellaneous expenditure should not be shown in the balance sheet. It should be shown in statement of profit and loss. Maybe you got to know right now. In revised schedule 6, the miscellaneous expenditure was deleted. Now you got the information that yes, this item has been deleted from the balance sheet. So you came to know that yes, this was not eligible for capitalization earlier. In 2002 only, in 2000 when the framework was issued by ICI, after that the definition of asset was quite simple. After that only there was nothing called miscellaneous. In income tax we allow the expenditure, 35D, in section 35D is there. But in accounts we don't write it in assets. It has to be shown in statement of P&L accounts.
Sir, our next question is raised by Abhay. He is asking how to read and understand the accounting standards and how many type standard exist in India and whether they apply to us for exams or not.
Your question is how to read and understand accounting standards. So my dear friend, best part to read them is not start reading the texts You may not understand the text at the very first instance. So try reading from any summary book, any summaries on internet of that particular standard. You will get the basic idea of the standard. After that, you should improve that part. When you are quite comfortable in the basic format of that standard, you should start reading the text of the standard. But you should not start with the text at the first instance. It's very typical. So first of all, read the summary, understand the basic format of the standard, then go for it. Then read in technicalities, practice certain modules. That is the basic strategy for accounting standards. Second question you asked is, how many types of standards exist in India? In India, we don't have how many types of standards. Of course, you may be referring of certain standards issued by ICI. Certain have been notified by Ministry of Corporate Affairs through NACAS. There are certain standards issued by ICWA, now called ICI only. Certain standard issued by ICSI. But the basic standard what we are always referring to are the standards issued by ICAI, and are all standards issued by ICWI or ICSI. They are not relevant for your examinations. Even Ind AS are also not relevant. IFRS are not relevant. They are not in your course. Institute every time gives the guideline that they are not in your syllabus. They may come later on. That's the only thing.
Sir, Prabjot is asking that is it important to make notes along with balance sheet, or we can show it in balance sheet itself?
No, I replied earlier also, Prabjot, that we can show the notes also, there is no doubt about it. And in case we can prepare it, very good. In case we are unable to prepare, we can explain the items of notes in balance sheet itself. I gave you the example also. Don't make note for reserve and surplus, but write it in the balance sheet, reserve and surplus as heading, and then give the list of items of reserve and surplus within balance sheet itself. There is no need to prepare notes. You won't get any deduction of marks due to this reason. The balance sheet definitely will give good marks in case you prepare notes, but it's not at all mandatory requirement.
Sir, another question. In case of buyback, when any company after buyback issues bonus shares, then there will be any entry or not? If yes, then what will be the entry?
In case company buy back the shares and go for a bonus issue, the entry will be definitely made for bonus issue. The entry would be reserves and surplus, maybe capital redemption reserve, security premium account debit, capital redemption reserve account debit 2, bonus issue, and second entry bonus issue account debit 2, share capital. Now you may say, what's the purpose of again issuing bonus when we had bought back our capital recently? Why the company is going for bonus issue? Practically it is a payment of dividend concept, not more than that. When company has redeemed or bought back its capital, people got money, and profits are again being transferred to the capital. It's just equivalent to distribution of dividends. When companies distribute dividend, what happens? Your reserves come down along with the bank balance. The same thing is happening over here. You bought back capital and then again issued the bonus. The capital is at the same level. What has reduced is the bank balance and reserve and surplus. So when the companies are opting for bonus soon after buyback, it practically means they are going for a dividend distribution plans.
Sir, Electricity Company Format Schedule 6 applicable or under Electricity Company Act November 13 attempt?
Your revised schedule 6 says that wherever any governing law specifies a particular format, then such companies are supposed to follow the governing law formats. It means banking companies are supposed to follow the formats given by banking regulation. Insurance companies are supposed to follow formats given by the Insurance Act. But electricity companies, again, they are supposed to follow Electricity Supply Act 2003, but Electricity Act 2003 does not specify any particular format of financial statements. Hence, we are technically following Electricity Act 2003, but because formats are not there, Therefore, revised schedule 6 has to be applied. The formats of statement of capital expenditure is no more required. We are supposed to follow only and only revised schedule 6 for electricity companies and for C exams.
Sir, if one of the steps, example profit, is wrong and hence the balance sheet is also incorrect, will we get some marks as per step marking?
Yes, definitely you will be getting marks for steps, but there is one trouble. In case values are not matching, your second step values will also not match. In that case, you won't be getting marks. For example, let us say profits is not correct, and due to that profits, your balance sheet is also not correct. So you will be penalized two times. One is P&L, another is in balance sheets. You will be deducted marks for your balance sheet error also and for profit loss error also. But rest of the balance sheet will definitely give you marks.
On similar lines, another student is asking, if my entries are correct but my calculation is wrong, will I get some marks?
No, not at all. Both things are required to be correct.
So, sir, these were some of the queries.
Oh.
And
thank you very much, Dr. Pathak, Dr. Ravi.
well, students, in this session, CA Praveen Sharma has covered all the valuable steps and given us valuable inputs regarding how to excel in the paper, and has specially and emphatically emphasized on the institute's publication that they are self-sufficient for good scoring. We hope that today's lecture on the topic how to qualify and excel in IPCC paper 5 of advanced accounting must be very much clear to the students watching the program, as CA Praveen Sharma has covered all the important aspects in depth and in an excellent manner. We are thankful to CA Praveen Sharma for sparing his precious time and effort in delivering the lecture and also addressing to the number of queries raised by the students. Before we leave, I would just recall and repeat what Sir has said. Productivity does not lie in thinking about the course. Productivity lies in practicing the course. So just a piece of advice, keep on practicing. Thank you.
Thank you.